Welcome to The Explainer. So, if you're a Gemini, or honestly, even if you just love one, I need you to pay really close attention right now. Today, we're going to absolutely shatter everything pop astrology has ever told you about this sign. And hey, if you aren't a Gemini, understanding this hidden architecture, it's literally the key you've been missing to finally decode that complex, brilliant, and yeah, let's face it, sometimes frustrating person in your life. The source material we're diving into today completely redefines what it means to carry this energy. It strips away all those superficial labels and reveals this profoundly complex, beautiful architecture underneath. So get ready to look at yourself and your entire mission in life in a totally different way.
Okay, let's actually kick things off by recounting the foundational myth of Castor and Pollux, because you really have to deeply understand this ancient story to get anything else about this sign. So, as the myth goes, these twin brothers were just utterly inseparable. Castor was mortal and Pollux was immortal. Well, when Castor was fatally wounded in battle, Pollux just flat out refused to let the universe tear them apart. He went straight to Zeus and made this staggering demand. Take my immortality, split it. I won't live forever if he can't live with me. And Zeus agreed, but on one seriously agonizing condition. They would spend one day together among the gods and the very next day together in the underworld, forever alternating, never fully in one world or the other. That profound emotional sacrifice, that absolute refusal to be separated, that is the true dual architecture of the Gemini soul. You were literally never meant to live in just one world.
Now, pop astrology lives to call you two-faced, right? Scattered, unable to choose. It constantly tells you to just pick a side, settle down, and be one thing. But what's really interesting here is that esoteric astrology reveals you are the one sign in the zodiac whose whole mission is to outright refuse that false choice. Being told to pick a side is exhausting for you because you intuitively know it's a total trap. You aren't meant to pick a side. You were built to be the bridge where two totally different worlds actually meet. Mind and body, heaven and earth, the mortal and the immortal, without ever collapsing one into the other.
Section 1, Beyond Pop Astrology Myths. To truly grasp this, we have to look at the mechanical architecture of your sign through esoteric astrology. Now, this isn't that generic stuff you're going to find on a daily horoscope app. This is based on a highly structured framework developed in the early 20th century by Alice Bailey. In this system, your sign is a specific curriculum. It's the exact work your soul came here to do. But we need to clarify how this applies to your unique chart. Having this as your sun sign versus your ascendant, two very different things. Think of your sun sign as your native language. You speak it effortlessly. You were born just inherently knowing how to translate and bridge ideas. But your ascendant, that's the foreign language your soul painfully yet purposefully came here to learn. If this is your ascendant, seamless communication isn't an easy gift for you just yet. It's actually your ultimate lifelong assignment.
And to fulfill that assignment, we kind of have to completely redefine what it means to be an air sign. It's not about just being breezy or aloof or purely intellectual. Air is the medium of exchange. I mean, think about it. Without air, no sound travels, no fire burns, no life sustains. It's the invisible substance and space where two minds touch, making actual connection possible. You are the space where two minds touch. This is exactly why a stagnant environment feels like a literal death to you. You don't just get bored in a sealed room, you suffocate. It's why you get that undeniable urge to flee boring dinner parties. You are the oxygen, and oxygen absolutely must circulate to bring life.
Section 2, the true rulers of Gemini.
This brings us to a massive paradigm shift in the source material. Everything you've ever heard about the planets that govern you is about to be totally flipped on its head. So while everyone associates you with Mercury, the planet of intellect and communication, that's really only half the story. On a basic personality level, sure, Mercury is active, but Mercury's primary function is to divide reality into fragments so we can understand it. Mercury basically uses scissors. Your true esoteric ruler, the one governing your soul's deeper mission, is actually Venus. Yeah, the planet of love. While Mercury slices things apart, Venus acts as the unifier. Venus mends the heart and recognizes that two seemingly separate things, even fiercely opposing ideas, are actually just one whole.
If you live entirely inside Mercury's intellect, you trap yourself in what the source calls the curse of lower Mercury. And wow, is it an exhausting, endless cycle of analytical paralysis. You end up slicing reality into smaller and smaller pieces. You see both sides of every single argument so clearly that you literally can never pick one. You end up juggling two careers, two faces, two voices, just desperately trying to keep all the plates spinning. It's incredibly draining to live like that, constantly bouncing between fragments, because eventually it hits you. You can't actually find your true self in any of those shattered pieces.
So your actual mission, deeply encoded in this sign, is to let higher Venus step in and reunite those fragments. And Venusian magic isn't about just meeting in the middle or forcing some watered-down compromise. No, it's about elevating the contradiction.
It means holding both extreme, opposing truths with such profound, unshakable love that they finally recognize each other as halves of the exact same whole. That is the true Venusian power you are meant to wield. You literally erase the line between self and other. But there's an even higher level here, and I just want you to pause for a second and really let the weight of this land. At the absolute highest level of mastery, your hierarchical ruler is the Earth itself. Why? Because the Earth is the ultimate bridge. It's the exact meeting place between matter and spirit, where invisible ideas take tangible, physical form. Now, think about the immense friction this causes. As an air sign, your instinct is to fly away, right? To escape into the realm of pure thought. But your ultimate esoteric task isn't to live entirely in your head and leave the messy world behind. It's to root down. It is to become so deeply embodied, so completely present in the physical world, that you are indistinguishable from the Earth itself.
Section 3. Your gifts and hidden shadows.
Now, let's bring this down to your daily, lived experience. The source material outlines how this massive esoteric architecture actually plays out day to day, and it validates some incredibly difficult internal struggles while completely reframing them. Let's look at the shadows first. If you're stuck in that state of fragmentation, you probably struggle with an absolute inability to commit. Not because you don't care, but because choosing one thing feels like closing a door forever, and you are terrified of the finite. You might use your razor-sharp verbal intelligence as a weapon, dissecting someone in an argument before you even realize you did it. You probably face a relentless restlessness, a sheer addiction to new tabs, new texts, and new inputs just to avoid the deafening quiet. And perhaps the most exhausting part? Living with an inner committee of 3 or 4 arguing voices inside your head that never, ever agree, and absolutely none of them have a mute button.
If that hit home just now, take a deep breath. You aren't broken. Those shadows are literally just the unrefined, unintegrated versions of profound gifts. That chaotic inner committee, it's just the unrefined version of an unmatched precision in interlinguistic intelligence. That endless restlessness is actually a deeply renewable well of curiosity that's going to outlast everyone else in the room. And your inability to commit, that's simply a misfiring of your incredible capacity to hold cognitive contradiction without panicking, which is an absolute prerequisite for true, deep wisdom. When you finally harness all of this, you become this instant adapter under pressure and a master at building invisible, vital networks of human connection.
Section 4. 3 levels of evolution.
Let's look at how this builds into a vertical path of growth. Every single person carrying this energy has to travel through 3 distinct evolutionary stages. As we go through these, I want you to honestly ask yourself, where do I currently stand? The entry-level stage is the twin. Here, you literally experience yourself as 2 people fighting over a rope, pulling your life in completely opposite directions. You make a grand plan, and your other half immediately sabotages it. The linguistic marker for this stage is the word but. You say things like, I'm like this, but I'm also like that. You feel wildly inconsistent, kind of like a stranger even to yourself.
Then, when you evolve to level 2, you become the translator. You stop feeling like 2 fighting people, and instead you turn all that energy outward. You become this incredibly useful bridge for everyone else. You tirelessly mediate conflicts. You translate messy feelings into perfect words for your friends, and you just solve everyone's problems. But it comes at a steep, quiet cost. You translate everyone else's inner life while completely ignoring your own. The marker here is a deeply drained inner battery. You're incredibly useful, sure, but you are utterly depleted. It's a state of meaningful yet crushing exhaustion.
The highest stage is the initiate. This is where the 2 worlds finally truly meet inside of you. The mind and the heart stop arguing, and they actually start working as one single powerful organ. You step right out of the exhaustion of constantly translating for everyone else, and you just radiate wholeness. It is a state of quiet, deceptive simplicity. The marker of this highest level is the inclusive language of and. It's no longer but, it's no longer fragmented, no longer torn, just and.
Section 5. Integration and synthesis.
So how do you actually get there?
Well, the source introduces the critical concept of the astrological opposite to explain this integration. To spark genuine growth, you need the missing electrical current provided by the other side of your axis. And your opposite pole is Sagittarius. Your great illusion as a Gemini is thinking that if you just gather enough information, enough data, enough fascinating inputs, they'll all magically arrange themselves into a meaningful life. Spoiler alert, they won't. Sagittarius is the telescope. If your mind is a million scattered, brilliant stars, Sagittarius is the lens that focuses those stars into a constellation that actually means something. Without the Sagittarian act of stepping back, zooming out, and asking, wait, what does all this actually mean? Your data just accumulates as empty noise. You have to actively synthesize the fragments to find the meaning.
Section 6. Steps to integrate the self. All right, we are moving from esoteric theory right into highly practical daily application. The source provides a super clear, actionable framework to help you consciously cross that bridge from Mercury's division to Venus's unity. Here is your precise 3-step daily integration plan. Step 1, a morning calibration. You just speak your specific mantra aloud once, effectively setting your frequency for the day. Step 2, an evening question. Right before sleep, honestly write down which self, the higher or the lower, spoke that day. And step 3, a weekly zoom out. Write down where you split your attention that week versus where you successfully integrated it. This whole process takes less than 10 minutes a day, but doing this consistently over a year will physically tune your frequency and literally evolve you to the next level of your soul's curriculum.
So what is that morning calibration mantra? Let these words really sink in. I recognize my other self, and in the waning of that self, I grow and glow. Let's deeply unpack that. Waning does not mean killing the other self. It doesn't mean destroying your brilliant analytical mind or repressing your logical side. It simply means gently allowing it to diminish its dominant loud claim, so that the integrated, unified self can step forward and truly radiate. It is a profound, daily act of self-acceptance. Which leaves us with this final, vital question. Knowing your true architecture, knowing that you are specifically designed to be the living space where heaven and earth meet, will you stay scattered in the noise of endless information, or will you stand still long enough to finally become the bridge? You aren't too much and you aren't too complicated. You were built this way on purpose. Take this knowledge, apply the integration steps, and completely embrace the beautiful duality of your soul.